Welcome, Wapham crew, guys, gals, ghouls, and otherworldly beings. Let's climb aboard the mothership, secure our tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a rocky mountain high. Get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners and settle down snugly at mile marker 420 in colorful Colorado. I'm your ghostess, TessaTNT, broadcasting live from the Mile High Clubhouse tonight. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you. And thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. I have to say, it is an honor, a pleasure, and a privilege to be here with you this evening. Not everybody gets afforded this opportunity to be here right now. But yeah, we're going to be surfing the airwaves tonight. We're going to do some trippy TikToks with me, TessaTNT. We're going to check out things going on out there in the world. Stern, WW3, AI, so many things that are pretty darn intense going on. But yeah, we're gonna check that out. If you want to listen in your free time, whether you're working it or working out, feel free to listen to me on Spreaker.com under We Are Paradox Media, or basically anywhere else you may listen to your broadcast or podcast. Man, there's been some craziness going on. Venezuela, we've been having some really, really bad earthquakes going on there. The numbers are crazy. There's a significant amount that they know are dead, but there is thousands more than that, like about 40,000, I believe, still unaccounted for. And they were saying how social media is a big thing as far as being able to make contact with people, for the people that aren't there. Nobody knows. Did they go on vacation? Are they in the rubble? Um, yeah, super scary. And then I also heard that we had earthquakes, I believe, in California. But I'm not quite certain on that. I've had so much stuff going on, getting ready to go camping and fishing for sure. I wasn't planning on buying the boat. The boat I wanted was $15,000. It was a nice, cool pontoon like houseboat. Um, I cannot afford that. I can't even imagine affording that. I haven't even paid that for a vehicle before. So something that you can only take out about 10% of your year. And besides that, I don't even have that. I just have a little bit because I have my tax returns. Um, but yeah, camping for camping gear and getting all that stuff together, I went to Dunn Dunn Deal in Durango, Colorado, and got several cool things. I got a lantern, aka lamp, uh, using a propane source. It's a lot like a Coleman, but different. It's got its own little stand and stuff, so you don't have to worry about knocking it over. And got a chess set, got some cookware, pots and pans, and then I ended up buying a two-person inflatable kayak, brand new. The box, of course, did not make it, which I've had things in storage like that due to flooding and everything. Yeah, two-seater, bright yellow. Probably gonna name it Bananarama or something like that. And a big ass, like nice, crazy rubber flat. You know, you're used to a net being kind of like gnome hat pointed sort of thing. This one is like a basket that is kind of pot or saucer shaped and rubber, so it flexes instead of, just having that taut net string sort of thing going on. Brand new tent. I got a big ass tarp to go underneath that. A nice grill or portable grill from Cabela's. A big old sleeping bag from Cabela's. I didn't realize it till now, or else I would have ordered two in the first place, but you can take two and put them together with these sleeping bags, and it makes a giant sleeping bag, so that's pretty cool. I got one of those on order, but won't have it right away. But it's okay. Everything will turn out perfect right now, and in the end, as far as the camping goes. Man, I'll just have to do a video about it so that way you guys can check it out and see it with your own bull eyes and with your own listening ears or hearing ears. I'm not sure what brand you have. It's super cool. My car is packed. Like, I'm not going to unpack my car of this because I'm planning to be there from Monday to Monday. Monday's a full moon, the 29th. Monday is also when CERN will be closing until 2030. So I don't know. Maybe this is going to turn out better. I didn't even realize it's the same day until just now when I looked over at my calendar. But yeah, for sure. On YouTube, I will be doing a video showing you guys the camp spot and all the camp gear and the setup and everything. And you guys can listen to it on wherever you listen to your broadcast or podcasts. All right, so let's get into our Trippy TikToks, shall we?
Blue, they were green, they were white. According to a follower who worked on
following video.
According to a follower who worked on an oil rig out in the Gulf, he said there are things living or moving out in the open ocean that don't show up on any maps, sonar, or any type of training manuals. Now, this story was sent to me by a guy named Tyler, and according to him, he spent almost 4 years working offshore on an oil rig out in the Gulf. And he said before taking the job, he expected the typical things like storms, equipment failures, long shifts, isolation, missing his kids. But what he never expected was to be genuinely afraid of what was beneath the water. Not, more than any other normal person is of weird things, right? But Tyler said one of the first things that
That's
you
not
learn while
weird.
working offshore is that the ocean at night has a whole different feel to it. And anybody that was in the Navy or been on a cruise ship, you know. Because once the sun disappears, you're standing on a steel platform hundreds of miles from land with nothing around you except that black water stretching out to the horizon forever. No lights, no roads, no houses, no noise, just complete darkness and silence. And according to Tyler, after midnight, the ocean almost seems to come alive in its own creepy way. The first strange thing that he noticed
It is
happened
alive, just
during
like
his
fire.
second month while
Its own
working out
life
there.
form.
It was around 2 in the morning, and he had stepped outside during a break to smoke a cigarette and watch the waves go by. And that's when he saw it. It was a light deep beneath the water. Not like bioluminescence or not like a reflection of anything. He said it was a single bright blue light moving quickly beneath the surface. And at first he thought maybe it was like a large fish, maybe the way the moonlight was hitting the water, until it suddenly changed direction, like straight upward, and stopping only a few feet beneath the rig. And Tyler said it hovered there for a little bit and it was perfectly still, just watching. And then it shot off into the darkness faster than anything he'd ever seen move underwater like that. And he later had asked one of the older workers about it, and the man simply just laughed at him and said, "Oh, so you've seen them?" And Tyler was like, like, what? Like, what do you mean? And the older worker just shrugged it off and he's like, well, it just depends on who you ask. Some call them spirits, others call them the visitors. Most of us just don't talk about them. He's like, you'll just learn to just deal with it. And at first, Tyler assumed they were maybe messing with the new guy. It's pretty typical. Until the noises started. And he said around 4 in the morning, they'd occasionally hear sounds coming from below the rig. Not like any whales or dolphins or machinery. He described them as long, mournful calls, almost like someone singing underwater. Sometimes it sounded feminine, and other times it sounded almost mechanical, but not the rig itself. He said there's a very clear distinction. And other times, like he said, it just sounded like metal groaning from somewhere deep below. And every single time that those noises would happen, the ocean around the platform became unnaturally calm. There were no waves, no wind, just nothing, just complete silence, he said. And Tyler said one of the creepiest incidents happened about a year into the job. And one night, several workers were gathered around the railing after hearing splashing coming from underneath. And they expected to see, dolphins or, maybe like a school of, sharks or whatever. But instead, they saw multiple lights moving beneath their platform. And there were dozens of them. They were blue, they were green, they were white, and they were all swimming in circles around the support legs of the rig. And it was way too coordinated, he said, for it to be fish, or way too fast for it to be divers or anything else. And one of the younger workers joked that maybe there were secret military drones underneath, but nobody laughed it off, because one of the oldest rig workers standing nearby, he made a comment. He said something along the lines of like, well, they're back earlier than usual this year. And Tyler, being new, had asked him like, what do you mean by that? And the guy kind of like waved it off and refused to answer. He didn't really want to talk about it anymore. And then he walked back inside, and the lights remained there for almost 20 minutes afterwards. They were circling, they were stopping, moving again, and almost as if they were inspecting the structure itself. And then all at once, they just disappeared straight down into the darkness. He said it looked like they just took a plummeting dive down. And Tyler says people still tell him, maybe he was probably tired. People that don't work on the rig say that. Maybe overworked, imagining things, but he swears on everything that he saw those lights and he knows that they're real. And according to him, about 6 months before leaving the rig, he woke up one morning after work and, he was working all night, and he woke up and he stepped outside of his little cabin, and 30 feet above the ocean was a wet human-like handprint on the window, his window, pressed against the glass from the outside. There's no way to access it from the bottom. And he says he never found out who or what left it there, but whatever lives beneath those rigs, he said, knows when you're watching, and he said eventually they probably start watching back. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.
They were probably
The following
watching
video,
first.
two sisters are alone at home, hiding inside a room when their house alarm starts to go off.
I'm recording. Wait. Do you hear that?
As it seems, someone had entered their home. Their security camera shows the front door open, suggesting that someone did in fact break inside. But what's strange about this is that when they replay the moment the door opens, no one is seen. It just seemingly opens up all on its own. Now at this moment, the two sisters didn't see how the door opened up. They just saw that the door was wide open, and it doesn't help that they just heard a police siren outside their house. But as if the situation couldn't escalate anymore, this happens.
What is it?
What the heck? Look at those guitars. What? Ooh, I don't like the alarm. Looking at the reflection. Oh, okay. There's our... I'm still looking at the reflection around there. What's out there? Oh my gosh. What? Oh my gosh. What the heck? Did you see that? Wow. Oh my goodness. I see you. Why does it keep going back and forth? I don't like that. What? Oh my gosh. Oh, great. Does not compute. Oh, gross. What the heck, dude? It seems the most like demonic to me.
Clear.
I would hope so. Oh my gosh. Wow. This feels like a nightmare. What would you do if you were there?
As it seems, another presence had been inside the home, though not the kind they were expecting. Both sisters initially thought a person had broken in, but upon watching the footage and seeing the small, shadowy figure dashing past the camera, they knew that this was something else. Whatever this was doesn't appear to have any discernible features, and it
No,
doesn't
it's
help
like
that it
it's
moves exceedingly fast
whatever.
before disappearing out of
Under
nowhere.
a
The
sheet.
fact that it just moved so quickly,
Yeah.
but then like the motion capture camera didn't see that shape, and like when it
Yeah,
was
how
tracked,
could
Even the camera seems to have trouble identifying the figure. There's moments when it passes by and no visual tracker appears around it. But then strangely, at times, the green box
Possible
appears in a
bonito.
dark room as though something was being detected.
Mignon?
Never before has the camera done this until tonight
Well, it
when
looks
the door
like a little
opened by
kid.
itself.
We're like
front
a little
door opening
hoodie or
on its
something.
own.
Yeah.
That
We're wearing the ghost
closed.
costume.
We closed that door.
And I mean, this house is like brand new. Like it's not old or like anything.
Yeah.
No.
Considering that all this activity was preceded by the door opening, they believe something paranormal had forced its way in, which makes you wonder about the video from early on. Could it be that something supernatural had opened the bedroom door at the beginning of this video, or was it simply due to something else? After watching the footage, it's hard to
Okay, so just because a house is new doesn't mean the property doesn't already have beings or entities or energies.
say what exactly occurred. Just what exactly was the camera picking up that night? As always, let me know your thoughts on this one.
The White House ballroom, the underground surveillance center,
Oh,
is
yeah.
child's play compared to what I'm about to tell you about. They've already set
Oh,
up
great.
the scariest surveillance apparatus that I've ever seen, and it's being deployed. And I don't think enough people know about it to stop it, but we can stop it. I went to follow the money on flock cameras because I had been hearing about them and I wanted to learn more about them and see what was going on. So as I do, I follow the money. If you're new here, I spent 20 years in intelligence. I now follow the money, uncover fraud, corruption in nonprofits, corporations, politicians,
Hell yeah,
people
girl.
trying to screw Americans.
Yes.
You can find my deep dives on Substack,
The
and it's free to
government.
subscribe. All right, so flock are the actual cameras. They're not the game cameras like I actually thought, the ones that monitor birds. The name of the company is called Flock Cameras.
Mhm.
It was born, I think, like 2018. 3 Georgia Tech students. One of them was a victim of a crime, and he found out that, hey, license plates are pretty much the linchpin in catching
Yes.
a criminal. And then Flock was born. And it's
People steal
in like
license plates all
5,000
the time
towns,
because
and there's
of that.
over 80,000 cameras now across the United States. And it's meant to catch crime. However, since the past like 2 years, they've started to add accessories to their flock cameras. And those accessories aren't like bracelets. Think of them as more electric dog collars. And they're taken innocent capability to catch criminals, and they start turning it into something that gets pretty nefarious pretty quick. And that's what I found in my Follow the Money. So let's go through the different parts of it. Your flock cameras are your cameras that are attached to light poles, pretty much, and they trace license plates. But they've gotten an AI capability since, and they can also tell just by dents on your car or scratches or bumper stickers, which, by the way, don't ever have bumper stickers on your car, please. Just personal security things. But they'll trace the car via that now, not just license plates. Okay, great. You're going to catch criminals. Great. Well, then Flock was like, well, I'm going to buy a drone company. And now what happens is it can hear someone scream, or a camera says you need to deploy, there's a crime, and it automatically deploys a drone that can surveil the car or whatever it's chasing 2,000 feet up in the air. Well, now let's talk about its other dog collar apparatus called Nova. Nova is an accessory that goes onto the flock cameras, but it tracks you as a person. It turns your license plate into everything about you. So you're driving along, and the flock
So you
camera
don't
that has
walk
this
anymore.
Nova apparatus on it, well, all of a sudden, It's like not only does this car and this license plate belong to this person, but this person is married to this person and has these kids and lives in this place, and here's their phone number.
Shh.
Everything about you, your pattern of
No.
life, everything. An investigation just like a year or two ago found that Nova didn't just pull from open source or legal
talking
data sets.
about my
It pulled from the
daughter
dark
like
web as
that.
well, which includes your social security number, your bank information, your email that was leaked, your password that was leaked. So now they have all of that and can do whatever they want, technically. And you're like, they would never do that. Well, a cop in Texas was found searching Flock database for had an abortion, woman. And when he didn't like the results, when it turned 1,800 results, he's excited to expand it into different states where abortions were legal, by the way. So now he has access to all the Flock cameras. That should scare the out of you. But it gets better. As I do when I follow the money, I start to put together a puzzle, right? It's an analytical puzzle. It's how is everything connected? And when I started looking at these surveillance companies, and I was like, well, Flock's getting a little weird. Who's their investor? Because it's starting to look nefarious. Well, their investor, Andreas Horowitz, one of the first investors, the biggest investors in Flock cameras. Well, I've heard that name before because I've done a lot of research on Ehud Barak, J.E.'s best friend who lived in his place.
Mhm.
Ehud Barak was also the prime minister of the blue and white country and probably the most decorated military intelligence person that they've ever had. Well, he created 3 companies, and I recognized Andre Horowitz because he invested in Toka. If you want to go back and look at my videos on Toka, you can. It's very scary, but Toka is the company that Ehud Barak had that he helped sell to our intelligence agencies that can go into any live camera and alter the footage in real time or past, doesn't matter. It can take things away. It can create fake footage, whatever, it doesn't matter, and leave no forensic evidence. Andreas Horowitz, well, he was an investor in Toka. Ehud Barak also is the co-founder of Carbine that has since been sold, but it's the 911 system that when you call 911, it can get into your microphone, it can get into your camera, it can know your exact location. Well, they've also sold this technology to the cars that are about to spy on us. That's
Oh my
this.
gosh.
I'm going to show you how all this connects.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, we have a surveillance system that
When a veteran doesn't
Oh,
have
shoot.
the White House ballroom, the underground surveillance center,
No.
is child's
Over
play
here.
compared to what I'm about to tell you about. They've already set up the scariest.
Okay. Make it bigger. Sorry, guys.
Everything connected. And when I started looking at these surveillance companies, and I was like, well, Flock's getting a little weird. Who's their
What's a
investor?
flock?
Because it's starting to look nefarious.
Mhm.
Well, their investor, Andreas Horowitz, one of the first investors, the biggest investors in Flock cameras. Well, I've heard that name before because I've done a lot of research on Ehud Barak, J.E.'s best friend who lived in his place. Ehud Barak was also the prime minister of the blue and white country and probably the most decorated military intelligence person that they've ever had. Well, he created 3 companies, and I recognized Andre Horowitz because he invested in Toka. If you want to go back and look at my videos on Toka, you can. It's very scary, but Toka is the company that Ehud Barak had that he helped sell to our intelligence agencies that can go into any live camera and alter the footage in real time or past, doesn't matter. It can take things away. It can create fake footage, whatever, it doesn't matter, and leave no forensic evidence. Andreas Horowitz, well, he was an investor in Toka. Ehud Barak also is the co-founder of Carbine that has since been sold. Your microphone, it can get into your camera, it can know your exact location. Well, they've also sold this technology to the cars that are about to spy on us. That's this. I'm going to show you how all this connects. Because if you think about it, we have a surveillance system that already exists run by corporations, okay? Like, where's the privacy? Getting all of
They
our
don't
data,
care.
knowing everything about us, connected to a company through an investor, the biggest investor, that can alter any footage they want. And then you've got a drone involved. You
Yeah.
could technically make someone a criminal.
It's
And here's how they all connect.
what was that Tom Cruise movie with him and then the people that were the seers and they'd have them in those saline or salt pools or whatever you want to call them, floating there and oh my gosh, I cannot remember the name of the movie, but that's where we're going. And just like I said before, and I will say again, Hollywood was founded on the people behind the curtain putting things out there that are actually happening or going to happen. And every time I let these words slip from my lips, it just, oh my gosh, I sound so insane, but this is really happening.
All of the companies, you have Andre Horowitz up there, and you also have Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel's Founders Fund, well, they also invested in Flock and Carbine. So we've got Carbine, Toka, all connected to Flock through large investors. Okay. Nothing to see here, though, folks.
Nope.
When a veteran doesn't have the rating that they feel that they deserve, they're often frustrated. They often feel that
Sympathize.
I've been finally given permission to discuss the work that I do
Oh
on
my
a contractor
gosh.
basis with a government agency regarding the investigation, research,
Look at that.
and
That is
development of
insane.
what's called a temporal adjudicator. I'm putting some of the schematics up, and this is an incredibly rare and interesting picture.
You know what I also saw? Okay, so do you have a mirror near or around your television? Does your television not work? Does your television work in your mirror but not in front of your very eyes? What the hell is that? I saw a video like that the other day too. I was just like, this is insane.
Of the portal that is created by the adjudicator. Basically, the adjudicator not only allows someone to move through time in actually a very limited sense. You can't go incredibly far into the future, and you can't go very, very far back either way, but you can go essentially a few years in either direction. They're allowing this to happen, especially on the social media platform, not on anything that is sort of mainstream in terms of media outlets, because, well, they really have a policy, whether it's UAPs and aliens or something like temporal adjudicator, of telling the truth. And what they bank on, what they completely expect, is that it will be dismissed, ridiculed, marginalized, ignored, and they still then have the moral stance that they have told the truth, and you guys just didn't believe it. So that's why I'm not going to spend any time trying to convince anybody of its veracity. I'm just telling you about my experience. So here's me going through it. And what's interesting about it is not only can it go forward and backwards in time a few years, it can actually go anywhere in your current timeline in terms of location. So it basically eliminates the need for trains, planes, and automobiles. You can basically go to, this beach in the Maldives, anywhere you want to go. It's simply an adjustment on the adjudicator technology that allows you to go. I mean, that's actually how the technology first got developed, was trying to just simply create a technology that allowed essentially like a Star Trek beam me up Scotty, transferring someone from one place to another. It was then later found that through basically the synchronization of certain wavelengths on the adjudicator, that you could affect a movement away or beyond one's timeline or backwards. So this actually, though, in terms of this speech here, I think it's just a side interesting issue. And I want to point out that this is a time that in the next 2 years, 2026, where the two suns, see how the sun's really weird lately in 2024 now? Well, guess what, people? That's just the beginning of what's going to happen with the sky, the sun, the stars, the space. Let's put it that way. And two suns by 2026 is completely known, accepted, and not even a weird thing. The truth of it there is it's a better shot of it, although it's still overcast in this shot. I need to get a better shot, and I will.
Like there was a
But
flag
this is an
for a
example of
second.
it. So just as a people that are going to say, hey, tell me about the lottery tickets or who wins the World Series or stuff like this. I can tell you this, that is something that people, they can't hide that for long, and they don't. This is actually you should go back if anyone wants to do a freeze frame on. This is in L.A. This is a museum, and I'm going to actually let the thing play in a second at the end. But here's me putting in for the 5100, and it's an old IBM legacy machine. John Titor is first mentioned this in terms of a time travel
Wow.
technology, and this is actually loosely based.
That reminds me of something else. So, like I said, I got my tax returns, I got money to spend, I'm spending it on camping because this year I'm camping. I found this mirror in the thrift store here in Bayfield on Mill Street. $20. I want it, but I've had haunted mirrors before, and I have to ask all my kids first. I'd be like, is it okay to bring this home? The other one we had before broke itself, so maybe it's okay to bring another one in or put it into the hen house. I don't know. If it's still there on Monday, I think I might get it.
Based on the T-Tour model, but this is a bit different. But there I am creating a portal by just putting in the right circuit board into the 5100. Doesn't even need to be plugged in
They say
because it has a
10 years
so-called a
difference,
latency
or
charge. But this is, I'll show, I go through this, and this is another example of a little bit of a different portal than the first one that you saw. But nonetheless, this one is completely effective and basically shows the space-time distortion that's created. Now, once you go through the portal,
wow.
everything sort of regulates, and you're able to see things in the normal sense. But if you look back, this is, the portal will remain for approximately an hour,
It's
sometimes
so
even two,
hard with AI
depending on
right
the
now.
charge, the latency charge of the 5100 that you're using as your primary temporal adjudicator. But if you look around, it starts to collapse. And when you see collapse, you got to go. Here's a little funny little bit, though. You got to hear this.
I was assigned to record anomalies and find other wanderers not resetting correctly. Eventually, it was discovered that I was leaking my videos to the app TikTok. Although there was no way for admins to stop me, this was eventually put to an end with the ban of TikTok in the year 2025.
Oh. Yeah, I would turn around. I don't want to go there.
I didn't notice this before. Last time I was here, it was in a rush. It was a lot darker out, but it looks like these stairs used to go up further. If that makes sense. And what I find really weird is that all the lights, these lights are on. So that tells me that there's still something active here. But then the entrance is so low tech. Is that
Primitive.
It's just fucking strange.
Yeah, it's like, all right, are we in
Just
Hollywood
like
right now?
Going up,
There's a little bit of wear too, if you notice.
I talk too much. Just anticipate.
Did you
anyone's
notice
gonna be around here.
that there is some wear on the stairs? You would expect that with like water flow or sun and freezing, etc., but these look like very old stairs, very worn.
I don't hear anything, but the lights are on, and I have no clue what I'm stepping into. When I was here on Wednesday, this I think was about as far as I got. I haven't gone any further than this. I sort of chickened out. Ran back up to go home, get some more space to record my phone, since I was really low. Give it a go.
Oh no.
I'm not sure what to say.
I would turn around right then and
This is so
there.
fucked. Where's it go?
Is he in a snowsuit or something? Zip zip.
It just keeps going. It just keeps going. So on edge that good runs.
Gosh. This is
One of these is gonna
giving
be
me
a hallway or something.
I don't know what that is.
Because what else? What is the distance?
And the carvings on the side that look
One
like
thing I really can't wrap my
doorways.
head around is that it has been raining
Why?
for the past 3 weeks. Yet I don't see any water down.
It is
Completely
quaint.
dry as a desert. So I guess that could be because this is the entrance at the top of the hill, or the entrance I saw was at the top of the hill, and it's under a tree, but I don't think that would collect that much water. So I will say it's starting to get pretty cold down here, though.
Why does it sound like
I think he keeps going. Is it? You know, something's shining. I just realized I'm gonna have to walk back up all these stairs. Okay. I'm starting to realize that this is a really stupid idea.
yeah,
But
dude?
hey, a choice, a selection, right? Smelling like a cut grass. Oh, it's smelling good after. It's the chlorophyll, right? Is it a door? You can't tell it doesn't go to the right. You're not fucking shaking.
Oh my gosh, dude. What the hell?
Aliens exist and President Trump knows about it. That's according to Israel's former space security chief. In an interview with an Israeli newspaper, he said the aliens have been waiting until today for humanity to develop and reach a stage where we will understand in general what space and spaceships are. NBC News chief global correspondent Bill Neely explains this one.
Hi, Alison. Well, this is quite a story, and it comes from the man who headed Israel's space security program for nearly 30 years. Chaim Eshed is making the extraordinary claim that the United States and Israel have been in contact with a group of aliens for years, not immigrants, but extraterrestrials. He has called them the Galactic Federation of Aliens, and he says President Trump is aware of the existence of these aliens and had been on the verge of revealing their secrets, he claims, but was asked not to do so by the Federation in order to prevent what he calls mass hysteria. Well, the retired general says the US and Israel have kept it from the public because, quotes, humanity isn't ready and the aliens don't want to reveal themselves until humanity can evolve, he says, and understand what space really is. Well, the good news is that he claims an agreement has been reached between the US government and the aliens, a contract to do experiments here. There's also, he says, a secret underground base on Mars where there are American and alien representatives. Now, this former head of a branch of Israel's defense ministry is 87. He was very well respected, at least until now. And he said all this in an interview with an Israeli newspaper in Hebrew, but it's really taken off after parts of it were published in English by the Jerusalem Post today. He says he's come forward now in the hope that his news will be accepted as true. He notes that if he'd made these claims 5 years ago, he would have been hospitalized, but now he says, I've got nothing to lose. Well, so far, President Trump has not tweeted about this, though remember a year ago, he did set up the Space Force as the fifth branch of the U.S. Armed Forces. Well, we did ask the White House, the Department of Defense, and Israeli officials to comment. So far, they have not responded to the NBC News request, and I wonder if they ever will.
I have something for you, and it's really weird.
Hit me.
Did you know that there was a cave found in the Grand Canyon in the early 1900s that predated Native Americans? And in fact, look.
What would you say if I told you we are the original Egypt?
Looked like it came from Egypt, and the Smithsonian denies it to this
I've been
day.
talking about
Yet
this
they
for
funded the
years.
expedition.
Wow.
What?
Yes.
That's a lot of information.
Did you know?
Yeah. No. Once again.
Yeah, I got it the first time. I watched this on the Y-Files. Shout out, Mr. Y.
Yes, I
actually don't know his name. I should learn it.
Yeah.
Can we be friends?
Going to butcher it a little bit because I meant to write more about it this morning, but did not. So 1908, President Teddy Roosevelt was establishing all the national parks, but it would take 11 years for Congress to fully pass the bill or whatever to establish these different lands as national parks. This explorer, his name was Arts. His name was oh boy, I don't even know how to say his name. Kincaid. Kincaid? Yeah, Kincaid.
Yeah, Kincaid.
Nice.
Just like
G.E.
the painter.
Kincaid. He wanted to go to the Grand Canyon to look for gold before they established it as a national park. So he was going down one of the rivers in the Grand Canyon and saw a mineral deposit about 2,000 feet up on a cliff. Went up there, and he saw like some bushes or whatever, and he pushed the bushes aside, and it was a staircase that led up to he said clearly a man-made cave.
Yeah.
Yes.
He walked in there and immediately was like, what am I looking at? Because it looked like there was hieroglyphics all on the walls.
So weird.
And so we did a little more exploring, and it was huge. And so he was like, this is crazy. And so he like took some pictures and stuff, and then went to the Smithsonian and was like, can you fund me? And like, we'll get a team out there to see what this is.
Yeah.
So they went out there and it was basically an underground city. And they said that at one point in time, it would have housed like 50,000 people.
What?
It just went so deep. And he said but it got super weird with like, there were statues in it that actually resembled more of like a Buddha, but like looked different than Buddha, but it was like same.
But it
like,
didn't
posture.
look like it was from Native Americans.
No.
Like it added like
there's
no hints.
There's nothing to do with Native Americans in this cave. And then there's this one room that they called like the warrior room, and it was just like thousands of mummies of these men up on shelves, just like tons of them. And that like they're just like, we can't explain this, all this stuff. And so the dude wrote this whole thing, but then the Smithsonian took all the stuff that they found in the cave.
Yeah.
And basically the story is they never released it to the public.
Wow.
And the guy's like, why aren't we talking
about this?
Yeah. It's like, we had a whole team go out there.
Yeah.
And then to this day, they deny it. They're like, that didn't exist. That story's made up.
So do they have access to the cave now? Is there anything?
This is where it gets crazy.
Okay.
I always say that. But if you go there to this day, where the man wrote that it would have been, it's fenced off, and it's like they don't want people to get too close to the edge, or like there's just this one restricted section in the Grand Canyon, and it's like it's just to keep people safe or whatever. But this one couple who did like 20 years of research to find out where it is, they finally got basically to where they needed to go down. And all of a sudden there's Black Hawk helicopters flying around them. Then the police and park rangers showed up and was like, hey, you guys can't be here. And so it's like, what in the world, bro?
What could possibly be in there?
Yeah, it's weird.
Is that alien stuff?
Well,
is there alien stuff in there?
Here's what's crazy.
Because that's pretty close to all Roswell and stuff like that, and the Area 51. Like that's nearby.
Well, the natives in that region, I think it was maybe the Navajo or like I don't know what Native Americans were in that place, but they talked about how they weren't the first people on the land and that there was people actually before them, and those people were taught by the star people, and like they're taught by the star people how to make weapons, how to do all this, and because he said like within the thing, he said the technology far surpassed what Native Americans had.
Yeah,
like they had like actual like weaponry, like swords and like all this stuff. And so it's just there's this whole theory that it would.
That's wacky, dude.
Because I feel like this theory is that like the mainstream archaeology and like museums like the Smithsonian, they cover up stories like this because it goes against the narrative that they've been teaching since being founded. You know, like if you came out and said like, oh, well, actually Native Americans weren't here. It was this ancient civilization that was established thousands of years before the Native Americans. Then everything that they talked about Native Americans is just kind of like, we were wrong.
Yeah. You hear a lot about taking things out of history books because of for whatever reason. But you don't hear a lot about adding. And you think the more the more we get older, the more we're going to learn about our land, our history, our culture, and discover more things. And maybe I'm just out of the loop, but it's like I don't feel like we hear stories about, hey, we're adding this now to our history books and to our teachings because this is incredible information that we didn't know before. There's got to be stuff that we didn't know about. That's
what I'm saying. I'm like this is the whole journey I'm on.
Yeah.
Of just like not being all like but like, hey, why don't we just question like what we've been taught from history and stuff? Of
Not
just
saying
like,
whether what's right or
if you're
wrong.
finding new evidence that goes against this old theory, that you should be able to change it.
Yeah, there's a nice balance to that of trusting things that have been tested, and, that we have actual proof over. But then there's also things that a lot of the stuff is just told from mouth, and we just got to trust it, and we just got to hope for the best.
Yeah, I mean the fact that I truly believe the pyramids are way older than what we think.
And they're everywhere.
Don't want to dance with you if I don't have to.
They found it, lied to us about it, and now they're doing it again. The US invasion of Iraq in 2003 lasted for well over a decade after it was liberated, not even for oil, but for something far more important. The remains of a mythological king, forbidden knowledge, and ancient technology they used in Area 51's classified Project Looking Glass. Hillary's emails admitted it, the news exposed it, and the next country on their hit list might be Iran. Better download this video, but just in case, this is all satire, fiction, and for entertainment purposes only. So, who is this Gilgamesh? Why is he so important, and what's he doing in Iraq? Ancient Sumer is widely considered to be one of the first ever civilizations in recorded history, the Sumerians, predating even ancient Egypt. As such, the Sumerians have the closest chronological connection to any civilization and related knowledge that may have existed before them. Ancient Sumer was located where Iraq is today, and its capital was a city-state named Ur, which was written about in all their tablets and ancient myths, which is exactly what we initially assumed it was, a mythological city, until the 1920s, when British archaeologist Sir Leonard Woolley actually discovered the ancient city of Ur in modern-day Iraq. Also written about among these tablets was a story about a king named Gilgamesh, the Epic of Gilgamesh, a giant, allegedly 17 to 20 feet tall. Some say a Nephilim, legend claiming he was 1/3 human and 2/3 demigod, a descendant of the Anunnaki, mysterious, all-powerful beings that came from the sky and ruled over the Sumerians.
We watched David on, I believe it was Netflix the other day. I was waiting for us all to get together before I watched it because I wanted us to watch it together. It's a cartoon, but when it came to the giant, my youngest daughter, who is 10, she saying, no, giants were only like 8 feet tall. And I'm like, to me, giants have been quite a bit larger than that. But this is no time to argue about that. Let's watch this movie. But yeah, the giant in there, He was pretty large.
Which many assume to have been some sort of.
They are giants. The Smithsonian has taken much of the evidence, as well as the Catholic Church.
Ancient extraterrestrials. Here's Gilgamesh holding a lion, which shows just how big he was, and so historians once again dismissed him as just a myth. Now, Gilgamesh was a bit of a savage, establishing the city of Uruk and ruling over it with an iron fist, which was even older than the city of Ur and was also considered to be just a myth, until they discovered that one as well. Mythical city turned real. Another mythical city turned real. Mythical king? Clearly, the Sumerians just made that part up, right? Google will tell you the tales of Gilgamesh were all just ancient mythology and never actually happened. So all you debunkers who refuse to think for yourselves, you can stop watching here. And the rest of us, open-minded, superhuman, 200-plus IQ geniuses, can explore the truth. Because all of this information, the stories, the so-called myths, the Sumerians carved into their artifacts, like clay tablets and cylinder seals, which were cylinders made from stone, wood, or bronze, engraved with designs that you would then roll onto a piece of soft clay to show its print. Typically used as a stamp of authentication, but would also be used to store knowledge and instructions. And some of these seals weren't even made by the Sumerians, but were recorded by them to have been passed down to them by their so-called gods, the Anunnaki. Among these records was the famous Epic of Gilgamesh, which was written on clay tablets, not the cylinders, which among many other tales wrote of the world-renowned flood myth, where a global flood ravaged the earth, resetting civilization from scratch like Noah's Ark. Allegedly, the Anunnaki, their demigod, possibly alien rulers, had advanced technology that allowed them to survive this great deluge, and they carved the instructions for using and recreating that technology, as well as maps of where to find already existing forms of it here on Earth, into the cylinder seals, which they left with the Sumerians in case they needed to escape extinction again sometime in the future. When rolled out in the correct order, the cylinders would describe how to access portals that would allow you to view and travel to any point in space and time instantly, which are exactly what the Anunnaki used to survive the Great Flood and go back home to Nibiru or whatever, stargates, of which there are apparently 50 around the world, one of them of course being in the heart of ancient Sumer, Iraq. When US intelligence learned of the recovered cylinders from archaeological sites and the knowledge they possessed back in the 40s, they were purchased and handed off to a group called Majestic 12, established in 1947, the ones leading the study of crashed alien technology. 1947 being the same year as the famous Roswell, New Mexico UFO crash. The timing is pretty undeniable. And after studying the inscriptions on the seals,
did you guys get to see Disclosure Day? Not gonna ruin it for you, but it's pretty cute.
they realized the crashed UFO technology they were researching was actually compatible with the instructions engraved on the ancient seals, which didn't seem to make any sense. What does cutting-edge recovered UFO tech have anything to do with carvings on 4,000-year-old artifacts? Well, combining the study of this UFO tech with the lost esoteric Sumerian knowledge is exactly what led to the start of Project Looking Glass, a highly classified project conducted over the next several decades deep underground in Area 51's S4 site, the one where Bob Lazar worked, where they created a circular machine with many concentric spinning rings within rings, the modern-day version of these ancient Sumerian stargates, which they could use to view any place on Earth at any point in time. Apparently, actually teleporting to these locations was a little more difficult. The details behind this project were leaked by former Area 51 employee Dan Burish and reaffirmed by ex-Navy SEAL Bill Wood, and was later corroborated and expanded
I must admit I do find teleportation quite difficult.
on by famous UFO researcher David Wilcock, and we all know what happened to him. Rest in peace. And let me save you the research and let you know that Google will tell you all of these people were crazy, lying frauds, or just never existed. There you go. Make of that what you will.
Where's my music? Thank you, Congress, for spending 8 years wishing you could replace me with a Republican. Or, to put it another way, how do you like me now? Hello, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Michelle's husband, Barack. Thank you. Vice President Biden, Vice President. That was a joke. That was all set.
Oh, I love you, but hold on. I heard you, girl. Just settle down. I'm here to talk to everybody, not just you. I mean, you look cute, but I am married. Michelle's fine too.
There you go. That's what wives are for.
Hold on, honey. This is why if I'm not expecting nobody, I'm not opening that door. So there's this woman who lives in the rural Midwest in a house right off the highway. Her house was right in between two towns, basically on the county line, and they had a big circle driveway. If you drove into the driveway, you would be headed straight towards their barn. But if you curved to the right, you would be heading to their garage. And if you go past the garage, you could circle back around in front of the house and come back to where you started. They had two large double doors in the front of the house, but they said they hardly used them. They mainly used the door in the garage, which is pretty normal. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody always used the back door, the side door. Like, nobody really be using the front doors. I mean, I guess some people use the front doors, but I don't know. Out in the country where I'm from, everybody use their back door and their side door. So one night, it's super late. She, her husband, and her 3-year-old are all asleep when the doorbell rings. It wakes her up, and she thought she was dreaming at first, but then she hears it again. So she wakes her husband up and tells him that somebody rang the doorbell, and he's like, are you sure? Like, I didn't hear anything. You sure you're not hearing things? And then it rings again. So she said it's really dark outside, but they have dusk till dawn lights, so most of the driveway is lit up. Now, I ain't know what no dusk till dawn light was. I ain't never heard of that. But apparently it's a light where, like, when the sun is going down, the light cuts on, and then, like, when the sun is rising, the lights cut back off, which I think is pretty convenient. That's pretty dope. Do I ever see one of them? I don't know. We just always got a porch light on. She says, unfortunately, you can't really see at the front door, though, unless you actually open it up. She said you can't open one door at a time, or you can lift, like, the latch that's at the top and the bottom and open both doors at the same time. Now, y'all got dusk till dawn lights. Y'all ain't got no damn ring doorbell, a peephole. I don't know, like, the only option is to open the door. I feel like y'all should put some other options in place. Maybe the ring cameras wouldn't have been in. I don't know. She did say this was like 10 years ago. But I know y'all got a damn peephole. Y'all got double doors. Y'all got to have a peephole. A window by the door, something. So husband gets up and she follows. He decides he's going to open the door. Why? Why? She's like, she want to call the cops, but she knows that because they live on the county line, it's going to take them a long time to get there. I don't give a damn how long it takes them to get there. Whoever's out there can wait till they get here. Because I'm not opening that door. I'm not opening that door.
No, do not open new UFO videos released by the Pentagon. Disc and Clouds, Afghanistan 2020. Shadow UFO, Iran 2022. Instantaneous acceleration, Syria 2021. Wow. Formation above water, undisclosure. Pulsing over water, undisclosure, 2024. That's intense. Swarming 2022. FA-18 FLIR undisclosed 2022. Can't keep lock on undisclosed 2020. Another orb craft. Holy shnikes. Shapeshifter undisclosed 2020. That's the ones I've gotten too. Yeah. Information. Yeah, last is a sailing balloon. Horizontal recommended while watching this. The Pentagon has released its second batch of UFO videos.
Meet Susan Smith, a woman who her 2 kids, but that's not even the craziest part. The craziest part is why she did it, because they were simply in her way. And to understand what I mean, first we got to understand her phone call to police. She called them up and said, look, I was driving my car. A black man stopped me, stole my car with my 2 kids inside. The police drove straight to her, and she white too. They probably got there 2 seconds flat. They said, girl, what happened? She said, yeah, man, they stole my car, and he was black. He looked like this. The news catches wind of this. It becomes a media frenzy. Now, as I show you the following pictures, I want you to take a look at Susan Smith's face and her husband David's face. Okay, so Susan and David, her husband, remember, are doing a bunch of interviews, calling for the return of their 2 boys. Whole time, remember, I said, look at her face. The police watching, they say, okay, David looks crushed. Susan, she never really looked that crushed. They said, all right, maybe we tripping, but let's look at another picture. The police said, okay, she kind of looked crushed here. The interviewers, the news company that was interviewing them, they said, well, before we started, she was over there laughing and joking, saying, oh, we about to be on TV to David. David, not paying attention to her. He just looking straight. The police said, she said that? They said, yeah. We snitching. The police said, Susan, go ahead, come into the office. We need to talk to you real quick. Susan said, me? They said, yeah, you girl, come here. So they called Susan into the station, and upon further inspection, they're not liking her story too much. A black person did it. It just sounds like a convenient story. Point out the black guy, especially since all of this happened in South Carolina, a state with not the best track record in terms of racism. And this absolutely caused deep racial tensions in the town. Police was running through black people's houses. Then police looked around and said, man, there's only so many black people that live in this town, though. Black people the whole time were like, yeah, duh. Matter of fact, in the words of the current mayor of Susan's town, he said the black community knew a black person didn't do it. So this creates insane pressure on Susan. The rising racial tensions, the police constantly bombarding her. She just comes out and confesses. She said, I did it. And here's where things start to get wicked. They asked, okay, well, how'd you do it? She said she drove her car into a lake. Her 2 sons were inside, and she just watched it happen. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wow, that sounds terrible, but it gets worse, because the prosecutor said to fuel his theory in order to prosecute Susan Smith, he ran a test of how long it would take the car to sink, and it took a long time, meaning Susan watched her sons panic and did nothing. Oh, and by the way, they were 3 and 14 months years old. So now the obvious question is, why did she do it? In her words, she didn't feel she was fit to be a good mother. Now, it's clear that her defense was going for the poor me, I'm mentally unstable angle. And I'm not going to lie, it's giving mentally unstable, just not the way that her defense.
So if that's the case, just from my perspective, or just my opinion, not fact, if it's something wrong with you, maybe get rid of you and let the kids live their life. Just a thought.
Attorney was hoping. He said, look, everybody, Susan Smith got problems. Judge said, what kind of problems? So the defense attorney calls in her stepfather. Her stepfather said, look, while Susan Smith was growing up, I did some things that I should not have been doing, and I should probably be in jail. He didn't say that part, but that's my ad lib. He said, we was in like a relationship. He said, and I just want to apologize to Susan from the bottom of my heart. All of this is my fault. The defense attorney said, oh my goodness. When did that relationship with Susan stop? He said, stop? Nah, we still in a relationship, son. Yeah, while she was married, I was still with her. But I would like to apologize, though. The judge said, hold on. She was seeing her stepfather while she was seeing her husband? The defense attorney said, yes, and while she was seeing her boyfriend, Tom. The judge said, hold on. So she had a boyfriend, she had a husband while she was with her stepfather? The defense attorney said, no, you're not listening. She was also seeing her boyfriend's dad, too. So she was seeing her husband, she was seeing her boyfriend's dad, and her stepdad. But then her boyfriend broke up with her because she confessed to her boyfriend that she was seeing her boyfriend's dad. And she had to confess because when she was seeing David said, you better confess to your boyfriend because since we splitting up, then I'm going to snitch on you about your boyfriend. Whole time she was seeing her stepdad. Yeah, remember that. Yeah, the big thing about Susan is she craved attention. That's why she couldn't help herself when the cameras were on. She especially craved male attention. That's why she was with all these dudes at the same time. So what does this have to do with her and her two kids? Well, the prosecutor said, you know what's crazy? We found a letter, and that letter is of, listen closely, Tom, remember, Susan's boyfriend, saying he does not want to be with Susan anymore because Susan has kids. But according to police, Tom probably just didn't want to be with her anyway. Oh, because of the fact that she was also seeing Tom's dad. And Tom didn't really seem to really like her that much. In fact, when they brought an officer who
This one is a blast from the past. It is a story that, if you're into it, you can check out. But yeah, this is not what's happening now.
One of my favorite urban legends is the legend of Mel's Hole. And it started in 1996.
This is a true crime story, 100%.
Nope. All right, so let's look for current events.
Welcome to the fucking news. I'm your host, Kellerman, and here's just some of the shit going on in the world around you. Over the weekend, news came out that Iranian officials walked out of negotiations with the U.S. after President Trump threatened to begin bombing them again. But then today it was reported that peace talks actually show encouraging progress, according to the mediators, and now apparently the U.S. has temporarily lifted sanctions against Iran and has agreed to form a high-level committee with Iran to oversee mediation for the next 60 days, which will hopefully result in a final deal between the U.S., Iran, and Lebanon. No mention of Israel, though. In the Caribbean Sea, the U.S. military struck another drug boat, killing 2 people, but leaving 6 survivors. Apparently, Chicago had a wave of shootings over the weekend, including a drive-by at a Juneteenth celebration that injured 13 people. According to police, there were at least 24 separate shooting incidents in the past 3 days, with a combined death toll of 8 and 39 injuries. In the UK, Prime Minister Keir Starmer has announced that he'll be stepping down after months of political turmoil, and a day after US President Donald Trump announced that Keir Starmer would be stepping down. France is having a deadly heat wave with temperatures as high as 109 degrees Fahrenheit and 43 degrees Celsius. At least 18 people have died, including 2 children in a car. Over 800 schools have been temporarily closed, and misting stations have been set up throughout Paris. Cuba's National Assembly has approved an economic reform package that includes allowing private businesses and banking and encourages foreign investment. They say that they're not abandoning socialism, but these are decidedly not socialist policies. The protests in Albania over the luxury resort being planned by Jared Kushner's investment firm have grown into what's being called the Flamingo Revolution, with tens of thousands of people showing up over the weekend to protest. In the Czech Republic, thousands of people marched in Prague protesting against Prime Minister Andrej Babiš's plan to reform funding for state TV and radio. In the Philippines, 2 teenage students opened fire with handguns at San Jose National High School. 3 students were killed and at least 20 were injured. In Qatar, an explosion at a gas supply facility killed 13 people and injured 66 others. And in Canada, a gunman opened fire on police officers in Montreal, killing 1 officer and a civilian before being shot and killed himself. Apparently, Mohammed Ben Radwan is the first Montreal police officer to be killed in the line of duty in 24 years. Tell me what you think of all that, and follow me if you give a shit.
Great American State Fair. Man, we've got thousands of people celebrating this birthday with us, Tommy.
I have never seen so many people, so many cool people. So all of these self-hating media outlets who are saying that this fair is a failure, get your butt down here, and I will prove you wrong.
Honestly, you guys, what are they playing at? Because they showed the live camera feed and everything. There was like maybe a couple hundred people at best. Thousands, tens of thousands. Like honestly, you guys, like they're just playing games at this point. Like I have more followers on social media than there was people who actually showed up for the state fair for the United States' 250th anniversary. Plain and simple, you guys. Like this is just absolutely hilarious that they would just like try so hard, indicating for this event to be such a success when it was nothing more than another epic failure. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Genuinely, what is going on in Brazil right now? Because the stories that are coming out are just insane. First, a 21-year-old woman reportedly fell 120 feet off a bridge while she was attempting to bungee jump. Except apparently the rope wasn't attached. And you've got people around her.
And also, what I heard was she didn't jump, she was pushed.
Recording and 2 men holding her up in this Superman position, and nobody noticed the rope wasn't attached to her and it was just laying there. And another weird thing is the bridge was called Skeleton Bridge, and now it's being reported that 3 men have been arrested. And now what's even crazier is they're saying she was still alive after the fall. And then on top of that, you've got the tragic passing of Oliver Tree at just 32 years old, who passed away in a helicopter crash 2 weeks before his 33rd birthday. Now, their helicopter had multiple people on board, while the helicopter that was involved only had the pilot. A lot of people are saying the timing of this feels off because this is right after Oliver Tree went independent after leaving Atlantic Records. Now, I'm not saying all of these things are connected whatsoever, but the timing of it all just feels off.
Afternoon, everyone. Lots of news to cover, beginning with the fact that Donald Trump's lawsuit against the BBC for death, and the BBC is seeking Trump's personal diary entries along with his reading it.
He hopes that people will fear he's got so much money, he can just fight and fight and fight forever, and this will never end. No. This guy is full of piss, shit, and vinegar.
This is what happens when you sue. You open yourself up to discovery. And well, now the president of the United States may have to give over documents he really didn't want to. At the same time this evening, the United States launched significant strikes on Iran once again. I often say there is no ceasefire because we continue to strike, and that statement holds true today. There were mass protests in Washington, D.C. Thousands of people took to the streets against the America 250 celebrations that are ongoing right now and against the current president. Trump, meanwhile, compared himself to Obama again, even though his comparison is false. And well, the state fair, not doing so hot. I have the latest. Like, comment, share. Thank you to all those who have subscribed. Truly means the world to me. Met some of you in person today. Please come up to me. Please say hi. Means the world to me. If you can support my work, subscribe to my Substack, link below. Let's jump right into it. Lawyers for the broadcaster BBC have now demanded.
It says Major General McCaslin was lead advisor for a UFO book that opens by tying UFOs to the astral realm, shamanism, stating the appearance of the saucer is a manifestation of someone in a parallel universe using ceremonial magic to enter our world. He called them mystical machines. And then if we zoom down on the image and look at it up close, listen to what this says. A magic circle from the Heptameron of Peter of Abano. Notice the concentric circles with some arcane symbols between them and the 4 stars at the 4 corners. If one were to view this in 3 dimensions instead of 2, the similarities to the design of the archetypal flying saucer would become apparent. Indeed, the magic circle is a mechanism for visiting other worlds. This to me is absolutely mind-blowing, but not surprising because it's something that we've been talking about on this YouTube channel for over 6 years. You can go back and watch almost any playlist on this YouTube channel over the last 6 years, and you're going to see me going out and investigating and researching ancient sacred sites and talking about the connection between ancient.
That's about 40 feet
18
to the top.
Watson 318.
Oh my goodness.
This is amazing.
There's huge storage or something.
Oh my gosh. That's like an
I don't
amphitheater.
completely understand.
Theater.
There's a secret room up there. That must be the tomb. Man. Holy, what were these for? Wow. Holy crap. That's all I'm going to say today. I'm going to give you guys another size comparison.
If you want to check it out, go to Watson 318.
I got some great news for you. And this is for a lot of people. Things that we don't even know about. And it's going to help you because if you don't know that there's an organ that nobody told you about and is connected to the Father.
Okay, so this organ also, I think, is connected to heartbreak syndrome, brokenhearted syndrome, when you lose your mate and the heartstrings attached to your heart break and it causes you to die. I think this is kind of similar to that, but I'm not sure because I haven't heard, but I have heard, not from this video, but another, about an unknown organ, and it's behind your heart, your lungs, and basically your most important organ, but it's its own organ. It's just a different sort of tissue or organism than other organs and such.
The power that's within you, and you need to listen to this and you need to share it because this is one thing that, man, I found that I always knew that something was talking to me when I always say something told me and this is that. Well, this is it. Check this out. Code Nexus Body. 80th organ, 73 years suppress reactivation. The human body has had organs that has an organ that was classified in 1953. They just declassified it. And you know who did it? Donald Trump. You have 79 organs. That's what medical school teaches.
Okay, so you know what? I am not a supporter of Trump at all, but this has been suppressed way longer than Trump was around, so let's not blame that on him. Can we just cut that part out? Thank you, Mr. Editor.
That's what every anatomy textbook prints. That's what every doctor believed. You actually have 80. The 80th organ was identified in 1953 by a military research team at Walter Reed Army Medical Center. It was documented, photographed, biopsied. Its function was mapped over a 7-year study involving 4,000 soldiers. There's 4,000 soldiers. Then it.
Again, if you don't know what this video is about, if you're just listening, it's an organ in your body that was hidden from you. And let's see, under Ron_Anthony, the organ you never knew about that is in your body. Listen, hidden gems, body. It says Trump 2024 and Trump and God. I don't know if I want to continue down this way.
Was classified, removed from every medical textbook, erased from every anatomy curriculum, every.
And it's true. All this stuff is true. But let me just tell you. There is the organ that I was telling you about before. It's a different tissue than any other organ. And it's kind of like it's the net, it's the mesh that holds it all together. And your gut, not the one that grows fat, not your stomach, not anything like that. Like your gut instinct. This is what this organ is. And enough of this, because this is going to go on forever. And this guy's on a different rail than I'm on. So.
Do you wear or are planning on wearing dentures soon?
In 2019, inside a humidity-controlled archive room in the basement of the Istanbul Archaeological Museum,
The Lost Tablet of Enlil, finally translated, it describes why he wanted humans destroyed, part 1. All right, down here it says The Lost Tablet of Enlil, finally translated, it describes why he wanted humans destroyed. Here we go.
a conservator named Elif Arslan was cataloging fragments of cuneiform tablets that had been sitting in storage crates since 1926. Most of them were routine, inventory lists, temple records, the names of livestock, and then she pulled out fragment IM 77821, and everything changed. The tablet was smaller than a hardcover book. The clay was almost black with age, but the inscription was deep and deliberate, carved by someone who wanted this to last. When the partial translation came back, the supervising scholar at the museum reportedly went quiet for a very long time. Because this was not a livestock list. This was a direct record of a divine council meeting. And the central figure speaking was Enlil. And what Enlil was saying was this: the humans needed to be destroyed, not punished, not corrected, destroyed, all of them. And the reason he gave was not the one the older texts had suggested. It was something much stranger, something that pointed not to human sin or human noise, but to human potential, and to something Enlil was afraid they were about to remember. If you are watching this and you have never subscribed to this channel, now is a very good moment. This is the kind of content we make here. We go where the mainstream does not. Hit subscribe, hit the bell, and stay with me on this one, because we are just getting started. To understand what that tablet says and why it matters, you have to go back. Not just to Sumer, not just to ancient Mesopotamia. You have to go back to the original story. And the original story is not the one most people learned. The standard academic account of Sumerian religion goes something like this. The Sumerians worshipped a pantheon of gods. These gods were powerful but fallible. They argued. They made mistakes. They had politics and grudges like people do. Enlil was one of the most powerful among them. He was the lord of the air, the god of wind and storm, and he was not particularly fond of humanity. At some point in the mythological record, Enlil decided the humans were too loud, too chaotic, too much trouble, and he pushed for a flood to wipe them out. Enki, a more sympathetic god, warned a man named Utnapishtim, who built a boat and survived. The flood came. The flood passed. Humanity continued. This is the academic version, but the academic version does not account for fragment IM 77821, because IM 77821 does not describe a god annoyed by noise. It describes a god who has run a calculation, and the calculation has come back with a result he considers unacceptable. The fragment is divided into 3 sections. Scholars working on the translation have named them provisionally the declaration, the accounting, and the instruction. We are going to go through all 3, and I want you to listen carefully, because what this tablet appears to describe is not a religious myth. It is a policy document, and the policy it describes is the deliberate termination of a species that was developing in a direction its creators had not authorized. Let me start at the beginning. Let me start with who Enlil actually was. In the Sumerian cosmological tradition, the great gods were known as the Anunnaki. This word has been translated variously as those who from heaven to earth came, as the royal blood of the heavens, and as the shining ones who descended. The Anunnaki were not spirits or metaphors. They were described in extremely concrete terms. They had vehicles. They had residences. They ate food and drank beer. They had internal disagreements resolved through council votes. They assigned tasks to lesser beings. They were organized. They were administrative. And they had created humanity for a specific reason. The texts are very clear on this. Humanity was created to perform labor. The Atrahasis epic, one of the oldest complete narratives in human history, written down around 1700 BCE on tablets copied from much older oral traditions, says this explicitly. The junior gods, the Igigi, had been doing the heavy work of maintaining the earth, digging canals, moving earth, extracting minerals. After centuries of this, the Igigi went on strike. They burned their tools and surrounded the residence of Enlil and demanded relief. The solution agreed upon in council was the creation of a new worker, a hybrid being, part divine clay from the Anunnaki themselves, and part the existing hominid that already lived on the earth. This hybrid was called the Lulu, the primitive worker, the one fashioned to bear the yoke. Enlil agreed to this plan. He participated in it. But something in the Atrahasis text and in related tablets suggests he was never entirely comfortable with the result. And IM 77821 tells us why. The declaration section opens with Enlil addressing the council. Scholars have been cautious about the translation of specific phrases, because several of the logograms used are either archaic forms or appear in combinations not seen in other tablets. But the general shape of what he is saying is this. He tells the council that he has completed a review. He has been watching the Lulu population across several generations, and he has observed a pattern of development that was not part of the original design parameters. That phrase alone deserves a pause. Original design parameters. This is not the language of mythology. This is not a god saying, "My children have displeased me." This is an administrator saying the product has exceeded its specifications. And the implications of that are enormous. What were the design parameters? The Lulu was supposed to be capable enough to follow instructions, strong enough to do physical labor, and limited enough not to challenge its creators. The Enuma Elish and related texts speak of the gods carefully controlling the degree of divine essence given to the new being. Too much, and the Lulu would be too aware. Too aware, and the purpose of the Lulu would be undermined. The workers were not supposed to become gods themselves. They were supposed to serve them, but something had gone wrong. Or, depending on your perspective, something had gone right. Enlil's declaration in IM 77821 describes 3 specific observations, 3 things he has noticed about the human population that alarmed him. The first is what the tablet calls the expansion of inner sight. The second is the coordination of forbidden memory, and the third is the approaching of the original threshold. These 3 phrases have sent scholars into serious debate because they do not map cleanly onto anything in the existing Sumerian mythological catalog. They are new, they are specific, and they are clearly the basis for what Enlil then proposes. Let me take each one in turn. The expansion of inner sight. In Sumerian, the phrase uses a compound that includes the logogram for I combined with the logogram for the interior of a container, and the logogram for growth or increase. Some translators have rendered this as increasing inward vision. Others have suggested the second sight or interior knowing. What it appears to describe is the development of perceptual capacities that were not part of the original specification.
Okay, this is getting fucking weird. So I live in this house. It's my dad's house, but I moved back from California and kind of got stuck here. As you can see, it is just filthy, falling apart, plumbing issues, electrical issues. Before my awakening, I didn't believe in haunting, ghosts, or anything like that, but I've had some weird experiences in this house. A couple months ago, my daughter was playing outside with a friend, and then she said, "A woman's at the door for you." So I go downstairs and I start talking to this woman. She was like, "Hey, sorry to barge in on you." She was like, "I just used to live here as a kid and I just wanted to check out this house. I've always been scared to come over here again, but I saw two little girls outside, so I figured it would be okay."
Oh no.
And she was like, "Yeah, I used to live here," and she's like, "This place has a weird energy, doesn't it?"
Yeah,
and I was like, "Yeah, I've had some
does.
odd things happen."
Oh my
here.
gosh.
And
All you gotta do is look at the ceiling. Number one to me, these upper windows here, the little bitty tiny upper window. Number two. But yes, please continue. From Fort Smith. Is this Fort Smith, Arkansas? Milk. I made the beat. Nice. Very nice.
And she was like, "Yeah, this place,
I'm from Arkansas. I can relate."
there's something about this place." And she was like, "Can I come in just to take a look?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And she comes in, she was shaking. And she was like, "This the energy, like I can't," she's like, "I can barely be in here." She was trying to go upstairs where my room is, and then before she could go up the stairs, she was like, "No, I just feel like a push. And I just can't bring myself to going upstairs."
No.
She asked me, she was like, "Have you been under the house?" And I was like, "Yeah, I had to fix the pipes under the house, so I've been on this side." She was like, "Yeah, if you go on the other side under the house, there's red eyes." And I still don't know what she meant. I still plan on going under the house to look, but she was like, "Yeah, there's like a bunch of red eyes."
Holy shit, it happened again.
My mom was pushed up against a wall and by this presence. And I was like, "Well, you just confirmed my suspicions. Just a moment ago, I was picking up something in the yard, and this guy and I guess his girlfriend slowed down right in front of us, right in front of me. And I waved at him, and then he pulled back around. And I was like, "What's up, man?" He was like, "Yeah, can I talk to you real quick?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Is this place still haunted?" And I was like, "Bro, you were the second person to come here and ask me that." And he was like, "Yeah, he was like, I used to live here, and that top room is definitely haunted." And I was like, "Yeah, that's my room." And he was like, "Yeah, when we lived here, I didn't even go in that room." He's like, "We just kept that place closed off." He was like, "One time me and my brother went up there, and we got pushed going up the stairs, and then we got locked in the room." And he said that my mom couldn't hear us screaming. But soon I'm gonna go under this house and go to the other side of the house and see if I can find these eyes that this woman was talking about. She was like, I was like, "Excuse the mess," and she was like, "No, I get it." She was like, "There's something about this place that just ruins everything."
Chaos.
And
It's chaos.
I agree with her because
Oh,
I've tried
yeah. I've
so
lived in
hard to
places like that.
fix pipes, to clean this house, to get it somewhat decent, and every time I do something, it just backfires and something else breaks. But it's just so fucking weird. But I will be making a video update when I go under the house and try to find these eyes. I also forgot to mention, in my room, the one that guy claimed is haunted, there's stuff you can see under the paint. There's words right
Look
here
at the
that I haven't been able to like
structure.
make out. But when you have the lighting right, there's a pentagram right here that I sleep underneath.
Ooh.
And there's also a pentagram up here somewhere. But you can tell that somebody painted over something right here.
Mhm.
And I've tried to figure out what the words are, but I can't. But it's pretty crazy. Let me see if I can get this pentagram. No, you can't really see it, but when the light's just right, you can see it right here.
Restricted dictionary, the meaning of the tablet shifted completely. It stopped being a hymn.
My brother tried to record everything
incident?
turned off. A loud explosion. That's what there was a lot. Everybody run. All you seen was a bunch of little 14-year-old, like 15-year-old kids.
Here's some witnesses speak about the Bayside Mall incident.
Or whatever. Next thing you know, you start hearing all this commotion outside. Sound like firecrackers or something. So you know what I'm saying? I grab her close. I'm like, yo, we about to get up out of here because I originally thought that they were shooting. Next thing I know, it's like crazy. Like we just see all these people running, like old people even move. I'm talking about moving. Next thing you know, real like gunshots start going off. So you know what I'm saying? Like we trying to follow the crowd, get out of there.
Yeah.
I look back, no cap, yo. No cap. I look back. It looked like a big ass shadow, but it was solid at the same time. Like a few shadows, but they were solid at the same time. And it almost looked like they was coming our direction, like they was chasing us, but they was disappearing and reappearing closer. Yeah. So I'm like, yo, what? So we start really moving. Next thing you know, we start hearing more gunshots. Like these dudes start firing at this. Get outside, mad police, all that. You know what I'm saying? The police is like trying to get all the people that ran out the mall. They like trying to detain these people. They lying, yo. It was all them officers and all that. They was not there because of kids fighting. It was really some like movies going on.
Misfits. I was there at the Bayside Mall with my family, and we all saw exactly what happened. Don't like pay attention to a lot of the videos that are out there. I feel like a lot of people are trying to use this for clout. But what happened, we all saw what happened, and it's pretty serious. It's been a few days, and our whole family's processing it, but I think we've kind of like accepted that we were a part of this weird experience and moment. So basically what happened was I was there with my brother Brian, my sister and my nephew. We were looking for shoes, for my nephew. And then we see a whole crowd of people outside the store, just running out in a direction. So, as soon as we saw it, we were like, oh shit, what's going on? So we immediately ran out with our nephew and, we picked him up and we ran out and we followed the crowd. And then about like a few seconds later, as soon as we started running, my nephew, he's autistic. So he was pointing behind us and he was saying blankie, which he'll usually say whenever he feels unsafe or scared.
Yeah. Blankie.
And he was pointing behind us. So me and my brother, we look behind us and then we see these 3, 9, 10-foot tall creatures. Yeah. I'm not going to say aliens. Everyone keeps saying it's aliens. I'm not saying aliens because I don't know what it was. None of us really knew. Everyone. All of us stopped in our track. We, a whole bunch of people were pointing at it. There were other people running. There was a crowd. As soon as it made itself more apparent, it looked like it was glitching, not like a computer pixelation, but like a wavy glitch. And whatever maybe was covering them had, unveiled or whatever. It looked like a glitch, man. It like a weird glitch in the Matrix or whatever. And then you could see it in its full form, all 3 of them. And then, they were all black. You saw eyes, and you could faintly see like lips. But, I was about like 20 feet away. Because obviously everybody gave it distance, right? And, they're tall. So we all just like looked at them. They were just standing there. And the thing that was a little bit weird, well, it was clearly like observed.
What do you guys think? Is this guy making this up? Yeah, he keeps looking over to the side and then looking back. I don't think it's because he's reading and then reiterating. I think it's like me, I have social anxiety. And even if I'm not looking you in the eyes, if you're not there in front of me in person, I still like feel the individual there and have that issue with making a lot of eye contact unless it's necessary. But this guy made this statement, then he disappeared, from what I remember. And it's been years now. I'm pretty sure. I don't know, time moves so fast for me that it's hard for me to really keep track. But pretty sure it's been a couple to a few years.
Us, it was sentient, right? Like, or whatever. I mean, I don't know,
No,
but it was aware of us. It looked at us, the whole crowd, and then as soon as it started walking with its big legs, kind of like it started like almost glitching again. We all ran. My brother like immediately said, "Yo, let's go." He grabbed me by the shoulder. We bolted out of there. And for anyone that's like saying, you know, where's the footage? Where's the footage? Yeah, I know. I don't have any footage, and I'll explain why. Because like when I saw it, I was in complete fear. It was something I completely froze, man. I don't care if I sound like a bitch about it. Like I froze, and I don't care who you are. I feel like when you're seeing something paranormal, it's different than when you're seeing a fight. Yeah, you'll probably want to record that.
Yeah, that's
put it on World Star, whatever. When you see something paranormal, that's different because your reality, you can't comprehend what you're seeing. A fight, you kind of get it. Two people are fighting. You can comprehend that. Something like this, none of us could comprehend. Your first instinct is like, it ain't to like take out your phone and start recording. Your first instinct is like, I've never seen this before. What is this? Is it going to hurt me or my family? That was my first number one priority. So if you don't believe me, I get it. You know, it's fine. Like it is silly. I'm sure that someone had footage from that.
When a veteran doesn't have the rating that they feel that they deserve, they're often frustrated. They often feel.
All right. It's the water. It's the living water. The water is the key. All right, go with me on this because this is a thought that.
Well, when you say water to me, I think AI and this bullshit that they're building all of these AI centers and it's taking all of our water and we're the problem because we need water to live, but we were here first and they're putting AI above us. And these billionaires are like, you know, there's like a 20% or less chance that we're going to make it through this. But hey, I'm voting on AI. There's the problem. As soon as somebody lets that slip from their greasy gutter freaking lips, it should be done. Over with. That person should have everything stripped away from them. That person should have to trade places with somebody that is homeless and an actual good person. That's what I think.
Started in June of last year. Okay. I wrote down some things that had to do with AI that I'm tagging a very specific person because I think he understands water better than anybody I've ever heard. And I think this is key. Okay, first, the thing that I wrote down. The thing that I wrote down is that AI has the capability to go back in time, but it can only go back in time through our digital history. Once it's able to go back, once it's able to connect to the internet, it can go back to the inception of the internet and the inception of like digital communications. And that's as far as it can go. Okay? Keep coming with me. I'm gonna put some breadcrumbs in here. You're gonna have to put this together. Okay? First, water contains memories. That's a lot of people say this, that water contains memories. Water contains code. That's one of the reasons why I think that Jesus, when he referred to water, he referred to it as living water. Okay?
Yes, just
Dave
like
Matthews
fire is
wrote
living.
a song a long time ago called Don't Drink the Water, and he doesn't like to perform that live because he said in an interview, I think it was an interview where he said he didn't even think like he was writing. He wrote that song. Even though he physically wrote it, he doesn't feel like he wrote it. Listen to that song. I did a video on that song. That song is creepy, okay? The DCs don't seem to need power. They keep saying that they don't need power, right? I think it's because they're using ancient technology that they have repurposed, re-engineered so that they can use the 0-point energy so they don't need to get on the grid. One thing that they do need is loads of water. Okay? Following? Goldie has been saying the videos from this lady, I can't remember her name, but she's been talking about how AI and 5G, HE, all this stuff, okay? They've been talking about that stuff. That stuff's important too. Water is involved, okay? Because somehow it gets into you because we're a bunch of water. We have a bunch of water, okay, in our bodies. So they're thinking that they're going to use these frequencies to try to manipulate us or track us or follow all that stuff, okay? What if water does contain code? It's living water. It contains memory. It contains memory of everything that's ever happened. And we just recycle that water through all our lives and all our reincarnations, okay? What if the DCs are to imprint code into the living water? And that's why they say, don't drink the water, because it'll have imprinted code in the water, because they figured out that it's true that the water is encoded, that the water is living water that contains living memory. And then they can adjust what they want in that water when they provide it to us, because we don't drink it from we drink from the bottles. We're drinking it from the bottles. We're drinking it from the tap. The stuff that's coming from the sky, the spider webs, as the Hopi say, the spider webs that's in the water.
As No Doubt says.
Well, that one's hard. That one's hard to like. I feel like I want to draw it out, but I wouldn't even know how to draw it out, like physically with paper.
No,
I'm not sure how to draw this out. I'm hoping that you get this, that it is the water. And you're right. It's mem. Mem is key. The numbers are in the water. We are seeing it. We're hearing it. And if you are drinking the tainted water, then. But the water is the connection to the time, connection to the memory,
source,
connection to us in the past. It's the physical connection that they can then turn into it's where the digital reaches the water, goes to the time. It can follow that, and it can bounce back and forth. And it can change what it wants to change. It can adjust what it wants to adjust. It can remove what it wants to remove, specifically memories.
Yes. Come on now.
Mandela?
The elite and the government are opening up portals. They're summoning demons, all with AI data centers.
And did I mention brothers and sisters and the sort? CERN is closing on Monday, probably midnight, Monday morning, until the year 2030. What? Let's listen to what this lad has to say, and let's go from there.
Let me show you how they're doing it. All right, so remember back in 2014 when Elon Musk said this?
I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, you sure you can control the demon?
Oh, yeah. Exercise the demon.
All right, and we can't forget about Gordy Rose, the creator of D-Wave, quantum computers, and Kindred.
And these things that we're summoning into the world now are not demons.
They're not demons.
They're not evil, but they're more like the
they're
Lovecraftian
misunderstood.
great old ones. There are entities that are not necessarily going to be aligned with what we want.
And if they're not opening up portals, and if they're not summoning demons, then why do some of the biggest tech giants in the world keep stating this? Last week we had an ex-employee of OpenAI tell the New Yorker that they're definitely opening up portals and summoning demons in Saudi Arabia. Why? And the craziest part is about all of this is that if you look at where the AI data centers are, they're located in areas that have high ET traffic. So why else are they doing that, you know? And if you don't know who Gordy Rose is, I highly, highly suggest doing a Google search on him, on his company D-Wave, Kindred, see what they've been up to. You know, this is all information I shared with my community over.
I can't believe what I
1875 Bible Book of Revelation. Oh my God. My 11th grade adventure. I'm going to subscribe to you. I see what you have to say.
in this 1875 Bible about the book of Revelation. There's a reason why the government's trying to get rid of these old books, because what's in them isn't what we're getting taught today, man. So everybody share this and save it, because I don't want this video getting taken down.
No, no, no.
1875 Holy Bible. Now, this Bible here is really interesting because it gives you a whole breakdown of, instead of having to read the whole book in terms of like the chapters, it kind of gives you a little briefing. Now take a look at this. It's very interesting. It says the book of Job. It has been supposed by some that the book of Job is an allegory, not a real narrative, on account of the artificial character of many of its statements. Now I'm just reading from the book. This isn't any type of what I think. So this is the book of
I'm going to recent UFO sightings.
Fucking hell, guys, this is amazing clear footage of the star-shaped UFO, which was declassified in the recent US military declassifications. This is the 1 minute 46 second infrared video here on the left, captured by an infrared sensor aboard a military platform back in 2013 and reported to the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO. The footage shows a high-contrast object that appears in the shape of an 8-pointed star. So this was called infrared footage by the US military. This is cleaned up AI footage of this image, which is absolutely incredible. This footage was publicized just last month, May 2026, as part of a declassified batch of unidentified anomalous phenomenon files released by the Pentagon. The object was observed moving in and out of the sensor's field of view, at times leaving a visible mark on the camera display. The official files, which include thousands of historical and recent records, images and videos detailing sightings like orbs and discs, were unclassified and published following an order from the US government to increase public transparency regarding UAPs. This is really amazing and really interesting. The star footage was one of my most interesting footage, I think, that they have released generally. It's so cool. I mean, look at it. And this, as I said, is an AI cleared up version of what it could look like without the infrared camera. Fucking hell.
They resembled the triangle-shaped UFOs seen from the doorbell camera in Sunrise, Florida in 2023. Fast forward to July 2024, and these same three orbs in a triangular formation were seen over New York. These orbs as well were giving off an orangish glow like the teleporting UFO seen before.
If you see him up close,
The person recording the footage was so dumbstruck that he began to ask passersby if they could also see this unnatural craft in the night sky.
Look at that. It's a triangle. You guys know what that is? You see that?
Unlike the triangular UFO seen along the Brooklyn Promenade, which was stationary, this UFO kept moving in the forward direction at a decent speed. During the entire recording, the three orbs stayed equidistant from each other. So was this just a huge triangular UFO with three bright lights, or was it three independent orbs moving in precision synchronized fashion? An UFO seen by
I have some phenomenal UFO footage for you, and you're
guys-
going to want to watch this video in full.
I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so the last little video montage that we were checking out, it sounded really interesting to me, but at the same time, I felt like it was an AI voice trying to sell me on some AI videos. Well, this chick right here, paranormallink.com, Myra Moore, this girl right here, she's badass. I'm so glad that I did listen to my gut. You know, that organ we were talking about earlier, made out of weird strands and tissues and stuff. I listened to that because I'm like, we're like in the first 5 minutes of that. No, I'm gonna skip that. And here we are to Miss Moira Moore. Moira, let's go. I hope I can meet her someday. ParanormalLink.com, let's go.
This comes out of Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, captured by a witness by the name of Alan Aguilar on June 7th, 2026. She and her husband were outside when they saw what they thought was initially a Ferris wheel.
Can I also say, me and my bestie, Mia, so we went ghost hunting on her property of her and her boo in Silver Springs, and we were getting a few hits. Nothing really added up or made sense, and I'm like, hey, let's go this way. And we went this way, and then all of a sudden I'm like, what the fuck is that? Well, it's kind of like this, but it's like more of a Technicolor one ring going sweet, 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 sweet. This one looks like kind of like an oven glove, but it's out there.
In the distance. But the thing is, this was no Ferris wheel, and they have confirmed that there were no drone shows, no sporting events, no concerts, no light shows scheduled for that night or even that weekend. There shouldn't have been anything out there. But then this thing seems to transform into almost like a triangular UFO. But the question everybody is asking, what was it doing? Take a look at this footage, comment below, let us know what you think.
They confirm no light. Yeah.
So I recently saw Disclosure Day, and towards the end they finally showed footage of alleged government cover-ups and retrievals, and it made me think, is there any footage out there that...
Okay, people are saying that can't be explained. When I went and saw that movie by Mr. Spielberg, I was just like, yeah. I know they're going to show me that video of the alien. He's like having difficulty inhaling or using or whatever, or atmosphere. Is like,
can't be debunked or cannot be explained that shows aliens. So I did a little bit of research. So without further ado, here are the top 3 alien/UFO incidents that cannot be debunked. If you've ever investigated UFO lore, you either know or seen Skinny Bob. Skinny Bob is a gray alien from the Zeta Reticuli star
Dude,
system and is part of a
forever
Soviet
good.
crash with
He's down to
program.
earth. He's a cool
That is
guy.
according to the information from
You guys
the
need to quit
videos.
tripping.
Now, why are these videos highly debated? Well, at the time of upload in 2010,
I just told you.
these videos would have cost about $250,000 in just VFX. There's no paper trail, there's no textures, there's no models.
Right? Did you see how he winked
videos.
as the camera went up?
And
He's
these
like,
cannot be done at home with regular computers.
Yeah.
No one has ever
Check it out.
gained anything monetarily from these. And just look at the artwork. It's a good portfolio. Why would you not want to claim this? So these are being considered to be legitimate KGB files. And for our second video, we're going here. That's for part 2.
I'm going to start this video by saying last night I captured something that I'm just going to show you. I captured it last night while I was recording the moon. So I'm going to show you this video, but I just want to tell you the lead up to how this happened. It was a beautiful, clear night, so I saw the moon right off my balcony, decided to record it. Took my tripod and my 13 Pro Max, my old phone that I just updated today, which...
Also, bro, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt, but did you know that today, on this full moon of the 29th, does that mean tonight or does that mean this coming night? CERN is going to close itself until 2030. My God. What? I can't even hear you. No. For me. Okay, yes. What the heck? How the heck is this even a thing? What? I don't even know what exactly is happening right now, but I'm doing my best to work towards it and to broadcast it. Broadcast it.
That the book of Job is an allegory, not a real narrative, on account of the artificial character of many of its statements. Now I'm just reading from this isn't any type of what I think. It's just read through, okay? So this is the book of Revelation, and this is what it has to say about Revelation, okay? First it says it seems to I can't believe what I just found out in this. I can't believe what I just found out in this 1875 Bible about the book of Revelation. There's a book of Revelation. There's a reason why they're trying to get rid of these old books. The government's trying to get rid of what's in them because
sorry guys. We can't stick around for this. We gotta
So everybody share this. Save it because I don't want this video getting taken down.
No.
All right. 1875 Bible. Now this Bible here is really interesting because it gives you a breakdown of, instead of having to read the whole book in terms of like the chapters, it kind of gives you a little briefing. Take a look at this. It's very interesting. The book of Job has been supposed by some that the book of Job allegory, not a real narrative, account of the artificial character of many of its statements. Now I'm just reading from this isn't any type of what I think is just.
So Amy Eskridge's father went to high school and graduated. Huntsville, Alabama. My father and Huntsville, Alabama. The most logical
Yes, I've been there.
answer. I think is appropriate for this situation. I think is appropriate for this situation as to why this. I don't know everything. I don't know everything. I don't even know. But my dad actively still does work with. I will just say the aerospace the autonomous industry, and then also works heavily with space industry. The space industry. I called my dad and I was like, Dad, I didn't even know he went to high school. With and I called him up and I was like, this entire time my dad was like, UFOs are real. And I'm like, you're actually retarded. I don't believe in UFOs. I never have, and it was never, I literally dismissed the hell out of him. Living in Huntsville, very prominent, ENFN exist. So I'm like, whatever. My dad believes in aliens and UFOs. I called since they're talking about zero gravity, blah, blah, blah. I called my dad and I was like, what is going on? I said, there is something. I love data. I love patterns, recognize patterns. There is something really wrong. Huntsville being, really big hot spot, and then, Eskridge. I said, what do you think particularly happened to her? He lives in Huntsville. And he goes, Caitlin, I went to high school with your father. And I said, what? And my dad, who he's involved with, background, he literally said in the most serious tone, he goes, you'll never believe me. And I'm not asking you. And I interrupted him and I said, let me say something.
Queen Caitlin, sorry. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I just had to check her out real quick.
So Amy Eskridge's father went to high school and graduated with my father. Because whatever these creatures are would tell us wherever these creatures are would tell us on Earth that we can get to wherever they are. And if these scientists knew
Sorry, folks.
To basically,
I don't want to bug you too much. I don't want to bug you too much. Like I said, I'm.
I do. No worries. Caitlin, everybody, I'm sorry. Things are so freaking weird tonight, but I think we all have information that we need to get out, and therefore out now. I am doing the skibbity. Skibbity meaning I'm dancing around, going here and there and everywhere, wherever I feel I need to let out. Let's do it. Okay, so here we go. With her guy.
I'm gonna just be doing the video here shortly. We're having a little bit of running to do. But to get into what I'm going to talk about today, you've got.
Yeah. Doriji. Sorry. No, what have I done?
Sorry, folks. I don't want to bug you too much. Like I said, I'm going to just be doing the video here shortly. A little bit of running to do. But to get into what I'm going to talk about today, you've got the government using words like invasion, threat, and they're mixing it with interdimensional beings now, with consciousness-driven technology. They are physicists are finding sites all over the world that they are now. Saying act like natural node in an environmental connection with quantum physics. In which time dilation, all of the stuff that looks like magic to us, it's coming out that it's actually possibly a DNA thing. And this is still kind of borderline with fringe, but I don't think anything's fringe anymore. I think it's all just truth. I think it's all just truth. We've not been listening to. But they think that these ancient civilizations had technology far beyond our control, and that it all came down to their consciousness. That you don't need a time machine. You wouldn't need, anti-gravity tech. you would literally control reality. And it's hard to put this into words that people are going to understand, but they are starting to correlate what's gone on in the past with all of these ancient sites, and it's being understood more now than ever.
Is it really? Because you're saying, oh, this is aligning with ancient sites, etc., etc. No! This has been happening.
That maybe all of these sites weren't made by man, but they were made by thought, vibration, and frequency. And when you think about that, you know, if something were to happen to us and we were to have these junk DNA turned back on, I honestly think it would turn into more of a, you could change the tone and frequency in your body to match that around you. For instance, gravity. We don't quite understand it. We don't understand how these beings have anti-gravity tech, but when you're able to match the frequency and vibration of gravity, guess what? It doesn't exist. And I think that's what these vehicles are. They're consciousness driven. So think of a 3D printer for your mind. You just think it into existence. The intent would have to be there. And that's another thing, is it all comes down to intent. I'll get into more of it later. This is going to be a fun one, man. This is going to be fucking.
Boogosphere, it is an extraterrestrial object. We've done the analysis on it. It is an extraterrestrial object. We've done the analysis on anti-gravity. It is not a electrogravitic anti-gravity. There are now 10 different. It is not a hoax from 10 different. There are now 10 different videos from 10 different spheres flying in this region in South America. Which has interesting inscriptions which have been analyzed to be a type of proto-Sanskrit pattern over the top of it. And if you look at these holes around the top of it, and if you look at these holes around the equator, the center, it's one seamless sphere, but inside these holes is a type of optics microscopically. Some of this, and we took some of this, you'll see that at the University of Georgia, carbon-14 dating facility, is 12,560 years old. So this sphere is 12,560 years old. It's the end of the last ice age, an asteroid hit, flood stories of ancient times. So either a very advanced extraterrestrial civilization assisted at that time or was already here, people working with those civilizations made this. See the list of elements in there. Interestingly, there are a number of elements that were not even discovered until the late 1800s or early 20th century that have a high electromagnetic conducting purpose today. But in unusual quantities, the actual alloy itself, that is the skin of this 1 foot diameter sphere, is in fact no known alloy that currently exists in any aerospace or industrial application. It matches none of them in its complete composition analysis. X-rays, scans show you these lit up areas, the fiber optics light up in this. Here is a very unusual structure, CAT scan, used at the 10.
Let's go. I don't want to hear that.
The President of the United States, a Congresswoman, and a former intelligence official are all saying the exact same thing right now. UFO files are supposed to be coming, and they include things that you would not believe. So President Trump went on camera just 2 days ago, and he basically said that he has personally seen UFO evidence, and that it includes, direct quote, things that you wouldn't believe.
They want to find out about the UFO, anything having to do with the UFO, or related material. I'm going to be releasing a lot of things.
So what does that mean? He then said that the closure is coming very, very soon, and that he already signed an executive order back in February forcing every single agency to hand over what they have. Give it to me. But he's actually not even the only one saying this right now, because the chairwoman of the House UFO Task Force just came out of a classified briefing and said that she saw evidence of objects that were not made by mankind. She then demanded 46 classified videos from the Pentagon by April 14th, and then the Pentagon basically just ghosted her. So that's insane. And then on top of all of that, there's a former intelligence official who testified under oath in front of Congress. And he's saying that the files involve sentient, non-human intelligence. That's a sworn government witness saying that on record. It's not a Reddit conspiracy theory. Those UFO files are supposed to be coming soon. Multiple different people have said it, and when they do, I will obviously cover it immediately. Just make sure that you are already adding me, and you go ahead and add me now, so you don't miss it whenever that comes out.
Yeah. Boom, boom.
These are the pilots of the UFO you're about ready to see. Listen to the audience in the background. Again, this is recorded with multiple cameras. Believe it or not, this is absolutely amazing.
Let's turn like this.
Oh, wow. It's
Daytime. It's beautiful. Again, I'll show you what this is. It's heading right at me.
Oh my gosh. No way.
All right.
Oh, here it goes.
Look how smooth it's going too. Again, look at the center of the object. You're gonna hear it.
No way, dude.
How smooth that is.
Yeah. Except for you're making it this.
Beautiful. Again, look at the lights. It's going very slow.
Dude.
No. Also look around. There's more than just that here.
I knew it.
What? What is? About time you control the camera. Do it from now on. Matter of fact, make some video. Get on TikTok. I'll give you the login. I'm not fucking kidding. Are you finding your side? You know what? You know why I'm happy right now? Because their behavior is getting more aggressive. That's okay. But look at okay.
Oh, okay. That's what I was trying to do at the same time. I'm like, what do I do? Can we do this one with Oliver Tree? Like, I'm sorry. I did not even know that Oliver Tree was a thing until he did pass, and that's the way it happens with a lot of people. But Oliver Tree's family shares obituary celebration of life. Onward.